Good afternoon to all our listeners. Today, Tuesday, once again, you are face to face with Jack Warner. And today, I want to do it a bit differently. I want to talk about several matters in a random kind of way, which impact on the country, both politically and financially. I want to talk, first of all, about Saturday's march to Chaguaramas, which in many ways, that was a historic march. I said there and then that if Dr. Eric Williams were alive, he would have been a proud man to see how the races came together, Africans and Indian, all for one common cause, to reclaim Chaguaramas from Kamla and the CDA. And you know something? That is the kind of unity which was never displayed in the last 5 years of this government. All of us, all persons, thousands of us, were marching together in the rain. In fact, there wasn't much rain. There was a slight drizzle, but in the sun, in the blistering sun, marching to Chaguaramas to reclaim once again that piece of the peninsula for Trinidad and Tobago. That peninsula had been given away, literally, by Cameron government to friends and financiers. All over the turn in this country, the state lands are being given away willy-nilly as a last-minute grab by this government. And whichever government comes into power after this election for this year, and I know it won't be the PP, but whichever it is, the first thing they have to do is to investigate all these bogus last-minute land grab that this government sought to legitimize, either directly or through its state agencies. And therefore, we are putting people on hold to know that whatever contracts have been issued shall be investigated at the end of the day. But Saturday's march, I think, was a march that was unprecedented in the last 5 years. It was a march that brought several political groups together: PNM, the ILP, the MSJ, the AOI, the Joint Trade Union Movement, and I said also you had the Emancipation Committee by Kafra Cambon. He was there. For J2M, I saw Ozzy Warwick and several other members of the Joint Trade Union Movement. So in a nutshell, I said before, I say again, this, I'm quite sure, is the first of several marches. You have to have several marches in the country to make this government get back a sense of reason, to let this government understand that this country is not theirs, to do what they will with it, and that the people shall stand up. There must be a national outrage at what this government is doing, and Saturday was the beginning of such outrage. I said to them there and then, I say again, the biggest march of all must be the march to the polls on election day, where citizens of this country will march to change the government, and to do so not by weapons, not even by the pen, to do so by this index finger. That day, election day, must be the biggest march of all. The second thing I'll talk to you about is the NGC and the NEC, two state corporations who in many ways influence the financial sector of this country, and two state corporations that we have seen have been the most corrupt over the last 5 years, where you don't have money being sent from one bank to the other without any authorization, without any kind of approval given at the highest level. You have boards like the NGC fine people because they suspect they're either African and PNM or they're Muslim. And after they have fired them, they then rehire people whom they perceive to have Hindu names. Now, no country can run this way. And if even you have a government that is, in a sense, Hindu-based, Hindu-oriented, that does not mean that the country has to be run this way. And NGC, I'm saying, is the worst example of that. If you look and see the contracts which they have given out, to whom, you'll understand what we are saying and how much. In the case of NEC, the Energy Corporation, how in God's name you could transfer over $60 million and nobody is held accountable? And to tell me you have recovered $35 million and only $25 million outstanding. Could have been $1. The point is, nobody had the authority to do that. And nobody has been arrested, nobody has been charged, but worse yet, the government has not fired the board. I know some boards have been fired for less, and more importantly, some boards in other countries would have been in jail. But in this country, nobody is ever held accountable, and particularly under this government. And I would mount a campaign on Wednesday when we have our cottage meeting in San Fernando East. I'll mount a campaign in San Fernando East. The meeting will be at 10 Forest Avenue, Coquet. At that meeting, I shall begin to mount a campaign against these two corporations. They have to be held accountable, and whatever happens at the end of the day, when the government is changed, every single director, we have to check their bank balances, what their assets are when they came into office, what they have been when they left office. All of this has to be checked, because as far as I'm concerned, enough is enough. In fact, it seems to me, I said before, I say again, that if in the Olympics they had medals for corruption, gold, silver and bronze, we would have gotten gold, silver and bronze all in one, because no other country can be as corrupt as we have become in the last 5 years. And then our Prime Minister, never seen, never know, only have been advised, doesn't know anything. My dear listeners, this country can't run this way. We just simply cannot go on this way. And therefore I urge all of you to stand in defense of your country, but more importantly, stand in defense of your children and your children's future. If for nothing else, do not let the sins of Kamala fall on your children. Okay? The third one I want to talk about is Rowley's suspension from Parliament and the erroneous propaganda that is being put out there. Yesterday morning, on CNC3, Monday morning that is, I was told that Dr. Botiwari made some scathing remarks on me and say how I'm a hypocrite because I give away government land. I want to say to you here again, Dr. Botiwari is a consummate liar. I'm not surprised either. I'm not surprised because I never give away any government land. I never had any government land in the first case. How do I quite give it away? I'm not lucky as Botiwari and they who have government lands under in all kinds of ways and forms. And what is worse, Botiwari is a man who was never elected. Every election he fought, he lost. He is now in Parliament and Cabinet because he has been selected. And because he has been selected, he is arrogating unto himself powers which he doesn't have. Botiwari is the most disliked man in this country after Sturridge and Anand Ramlogan. And what makes what both say correct? I am totally dismissive of Botiwari. As far as I'm concerned, he doesn't even exist. Right? And for the next 6 weeks, I'm telling you, he won't even exist, neither here nor anywhere else. I, as MP for Chaguanas West, was able to take the vendors off the street in Chaguanas and put them where the old health center was. I sat down at the time with the Minister of Health, Ms. Therese Cornelis. I sat down with her and she agreed to transfer the land to Chaguanas Corporation so that the vendors there can have a mall. I then put there some 400 tents at my cost. I was able to put infrastructure also there at my cost. And then we sat down with the mayor and the staff and we had the drawing of lots for the vendors to go to the mall. They came off the street. Traffic could have moved easily. What happened subsequently is that behind that mall is Center City Mall, owned by George Aboud. And George Aboud like all the other Aboods in the country, had come up with a brainwave scheme supported fully by Botiwari, the same Botiwari who supported John Aboud in Chaguaramas, now was fighting me for George Aboud to convert where the vendors' mall is into a green park, he says, and it will cost $30 million. And he in turn would put the vendors out in the rain in back of the market. I said, over my dead body. And if Botiwari believes that that is my government land to people, then so be it. But the vendors had a right to be there because the vendors were given the promise by both the mayor at the time, and of course the MP. And we said that we give them the mall so that they can come off the street. We even went so far as to have plans drawn up. We applied to town country approval, and all these things have been there. And therefore, what we did, when they came to take the land from the vendors, we filed an injunction in Samando Court, an injunction with our chairman, Rika Ramhit, representing all the vendors. We went to court, and the matter was before the court. And I thought that Botiwari would have understood that since the matter is before the court, we should not say anything about it. But since he felt he could say something about it, and try to sully my name, I am now going to respond to him accordingly. And Nagisa, the former mayor of Chaguanas, has submitted his written statement, I submitted mine, and the vendor has submitted theirs. And the matter is now before the courts. I really want to say more. But it is wrong to say that I take land, I'm a hypocrite, having taken government land and give to the vendors. How could you say that? And if even said that were the case, it's not the case, but if even that were the case, does it justify taking the land Chaguaramas from the farmers and giving it to their friends, their family and finances? Does it? Does it justify at a time when our food bill is so high, destroying farmers' crops? And based on that, say you are giving this for development? My friend, let me tell you something. Where's government? This government, in a sense, they're very selective in terms of development. So in the south, for example, they put a campus, a lower campus. In the south, they put in a hospital in Pinal. In the south, they put in highways and byways. In the south, a Kuva hospital. But in the north and east, they put four jail, 4 police station, and the lands that remain in Chaguaramas in the north, they take it away from the people. What kind of national development is that? And I will fight to the end against this government or any other government that tries to rob poor people of their heritage. And in that context, let me say about Kit Rowley. Because another thing they say about Rowley, and they try to compare Pandey and Sharma and so on, and say that they were expelled also. I want to repeat, Pandey and Sharma and others were expelled for actions which they committed in the house. In the house. And because they defiled the house, the speaker then asked the house that they should be expelled because they went against the ruling of the speaker in the house. Kit Rowley brought some emails for which he asked that it be investigated. And he asked for it to be done so through the police and through the Integrity Commission. It was the Prime Minister who carried these emails to those 2 organizations, the police and Integrity Commission. How could she then now be so precipitate and don't want to wait on them to get their deliberation? What is her agenda? What is she trying to do? What is so objective? And worse yet, last night she goes to Diego Martin to hold a Monday for rum meeting, right? To try to again provoke the people of Diego Martin and by extension Trinidad and Tobago. I ask this country, and particularly people in Laventille, Port Spain, Diego Martin environs, to stay calm. Do not allow themselves to be taunted in any way. Do not allow themselves to be taunted and push this country to the brink and therefore force a state of emergency on the country. If they do that, they will play in the government's hands. And therefore I ask them, I beg them, I plead with them, when they get slapped from now to the next 6 weeks, just turn the other cheek, because the day of deliverance is very near. I tell you, it's very, very near. Because they could run from the election, but they can't hide from it. And the results will speak for itself. I thank you. You can follow me now on my Facebook page or Twitter or on Warner TV, www.warnertv.net. See you then again on Thursday when I talk to you face to face as I have done today. Thank you. Goodbye.